Welcome back to another episode of Graps and Yaps. This is your go-to podcast for everything pro wrestling, where we are going to recap what's happened inside and outside of the ring from the last week. And whether you are a lifelong fan just like us, or you're unfortunately a victim of the wrestling algorithm, we thank you for being here. We hope you enjoy. I'm Phil Fresh, one half of the show, returning back to the potty. My tag partner, TF, Tony Free. What's good, Tony Free?
It's good to be back. Fun week of wrestling the last week was. So, yeah, very keen to get into today's episode and, deep dive into that.
Yeah, big international flair for this recap that we're going to get into. We're going to be talking about touching on SmackDown in Barcelona. I didn't even know it was in Barcelona. I thought it'd be in Italy, but there we go. It was in Barcelona, Clash in Italy in Turin, Raw in Turin as well, and of course, AAA in Monterrey. There's not really much outside of the ring news to get into. Have I missed anything, Tony Free? Should we just talk about what we want to talk about right now?
Yeah, there's a lot to get into, so I reckon we just dive straight into it. As you said, there was like 3 different countries where things are happening this week, so yeah, a lot to get into.
Big weekend of crowds as well. Some of the loudest crowds. I think probably the loudest weekend of wrestling crowds amongst all of those shows. Everyone was into it. Everyone was lit. But we got to start here. The AAA in Monterrey. Obviously, there was a pretty stacked card. We saw Ray Phoenix win the championship. The War Raiders win the tag belts. But the biggest match of all, the main event, was the mask versus mask match between El Grande Americano and the original El Grande Americano. Man, we have been chatting about this, in little sprinkles on the show in the past. Just talking about how, the difference in writing between what it is on WWE and what it is on AAA, and talking about how, oh man, it seems like there's things going on there. It sounds like there's some hate, in AAA. We finally got to the match, and I'll say it, man, this is for sure a match of the year contender. Ludwig Kaiser, Chad Gable put on a damn show. Tony Free, what do you think of it?
Yeah, I think, 5-star classic. And speaking of, loud crowds, I think this was the loudest one of the whole weekend that we saw. Those fans in Mexico, from the start, when they had the mariachi bands, for the entrances, they were on. It was a really, really good watch.
It was just everything, literally, and yeah, I'm glad you brought it up. It was everything from the entrances to the match itself, and then everything post-match, which we're going to get into. El Grande Americano, aka Ludwig Kaiser, defeating the OG El Grande in Chad Gable. There were, the way the match started, just before the bell rang into the introductions, where Gable takes the guitar, smashes it over Ludwig Kaiser just to kick off the match. And you know what I also loved about this? So that happens. And then the ref, and Rey Mysterio is there, who was, the new GM of AAA. And the ref is asking Rey, what do we do? What do we do? And Rey just goes, fuck it, ring the bell, ring the bell. I just love that it's we're not going to let this ruin this match. Let's just go. And, Chad Gable's the heel. Of course he's going to do some stuff like that. But man, that wasn't it. There were run-ins from Bravo and Royo and Julio and Bruto. There were run-ins from there. There was a spot with Tyler Breeze jumping off, basically where the crowd was onto the group. We saw the return of Pimpinella coming out, hitting in a mask, returning the favor, hitting Gable with the chair shot. We also just got the Andrea Bazate, who is she is an on-screen talent for AAA, but also everyone knows that she is dating Ludwig Kaiser. And she was such an integral part of the storyline leading up to the match. Just everything about this match, man. It paced really well, but the storytelling was A1, and just those two. Let's talk about how we even got here, right? Was it 2 years ago that Chad Gable put the mask on?
I'm trying to think. It might have been the first Netflix, Raw on Netflix, I think, when Gable put the mask on to try and defeat. It might have been Penta. I'm not sure who. I can't remember who it was then, but he did it to to take on these luchadors. And then he had that shoulder injury as well, which, sidelined him for most of last year. And then, made his return at the Royal Rumble, where he went face to face with a new El Grande Americano.
Dude, it just like this was like this whole storyline was should not have happened. Like, we should not be talking about this match being a match of the year. Like, depending, like, if you take us back to where this all began, there is no way that we should still be saying, it's still, first of all, still be talking about it, and secondly, be talking about it like it was the match of the year. Like, everything that happened was an accident, and it just led to the most amazing match that, like, will go down in history as one of the best matches of all time. Like, yeah, you mentioned the injury, like. Oh, actually, even before that. So I saw a post on social media where it was like, all this stems from is Dom Mysterio giving Chad Gable a number of someone to help him with with Lucha Libre and like, teach him about it and stuff. And then all of the things that happen afterwards, right? Chad Gable getting injured. For some reason, Ludwig Kaiser being chosen to put the mask on him while he's getting injured. And I also want to say at that time, like, Ludwig Kaiser was, I'm pretty sure he was in a program with Sheamus. I think he was still with Tiffany Stratton at that point. Like, what, do you remember what he was doing?
I honestly can't remember. Because, before he put the mask on, he wasn't doing anything, I don't think.
No.
Because we just had Gunther and Ludwig kind of, doing their own thing.
Yes.
Well, Ludwig wasn't really doing anything, but Gunther just went off on his own. And Ludwig was in this, I don't know, like some sort of, hiatus, or, he was just, I guess, stuck in catering most likely. But yeah, didn't have anything for him. So they just, said, I'll take this mask, run with it. And he ran with it. And, we got to this point. I don't know where it goes from here now, but, it was a fun ride. It probably didn't hit like the same way they wanted it to on WWE TV. Obviously, AAA, it went, bananas and was the biggest match they've had in years. But, I don't know where El Grande Americano can take this now.
Well, it's just like, the match was so good that they put it on the Raw stream after, like, on Netflix this week. That's how good it was, is that they just said, hey, let's just do this for the last hour. Ludwig Kaiser, man. Like, and, we're always talking about, I remember initially talking about it like, I don't know, it was doing it as a bit, being like, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I do want to say, after the match, I don't know, I was watching the Spanish commentary, but I got shown this by Lockie, where on the American commentary, it was JBL and Corey Graves. And after Chad Gable takes the mask off, JBL just goes, it's Chad Gable! which is super funny. But man, that promo after, the match was done. Amazing promo with Chad Gable's family in the ring. He cuts a babyface promo where he's basically like, hey, I'll always be the OG, but you are the only, like, El Grande now. And he basically, it was like the end of a movie, basically, where he was just like, my name is Chad Gable. I was born in Minnesota and I went to the Olympics and rah, rah, rah. And he kind of goes, I don't know if I'll be back or when I'll be back, but, this is me now. This is who I am. Chad Gable, like, he's proven it time and time again that he will turn chicken shit into chicken salad. What do we do with Chad Gable here? For the start with him, I mean, do you put him back on Raw? Do we just forget the whole facade? I mean, I would love to see him in the Intercontinental picture again. I don't know how we get there, but what do you think we do with Chad Gable from now?
It's a good question. I don't actually have any high hopes for what they'll do with him. I feel like this is going to be this. I think this might be a one and done. This absolute roller coaster ride that he's had as El Grande Americano and reaching that height. I'm a bit skeptical about him reaching those heights again, even as Chad Gable. I just don't think that WWE creative see him in that light on WWE television. I think AAA, it's a different story there. I can't see them making a huge star out of Chad Gable based on this one storyline in AAA.
I think it's something to build off on, though. Yeah, I do agree that WWE creative over time and time again has shown us that sometimes they don't follow up with heat. And Chad Gable, man, I think what you need is like the right crowd, and I guess we won't know until we get that crowd or when we see him on WWE TV again, like how it's going to be received. If he's going to be like, like if that's going to play into a storyline, if he's going to revisit that stuff with Dom Mysterio, is he going to revisit the stuff with Penta? Yeah, like I do see where you're coming from, but you gotta have some faith that they understand what Chad Gable has brought to the table, and the energy that he's brought with this storyline. So fingers crossed that we do get to see more of Chad Gable, on TV. He's kind of like a Sami Zayn role where, like, if you put him in the right storyline, like he'll go. In terms of El Grande Americano, I think he's just the guy in AAA now. I don't even know if you like bring him into WWE, if you just keep him there. Obviously, Triple Mania 34 got announced for September 11th in Las Vegas. Dom Mysterio holds that mega championship. I mean, for me, in the foreseeable future, I'm seeing El Grande versus Dom Mysterio for that title. What do you reckon? Do you reckon there's a chance we see EGA in WWE?
I don't think we have EGA in WWE, but I think they should be bringing in Ludwig Kaiser in WWE, and he can be EGA in AAA. I think that's the best way to utilize him, and I think it's a good way to keep EGA relevant in front of a WWE audience, and that way it keeps that heat in AAA. If you have Ludwig just as himself in WWE, but when he's in AAA, he's EGA, just pretending like the two aren't the same person, I think that's the only way to go about it.
What do you like? And so he's back to his being a heel, Ludwig. Like, is that what you have in mind?
Yeah, I think that'd be good. Ludwig being a heel in WWE under his own, just unmasked character, and then being
What would
that
you have
face.
him do?
He could feud with Gable again. I don't know if anyone would be
Oh no.
tired of seeing it, but like I don't think we'd be putting him with Gunther again unless like, we'll get into it later, but unless like Gunther's still copying L's, he might have to get some extra hands in to help him. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard because SmackDown's going back to 2 hours. You already have a pretty stacked roster from the I guess just above that mid card is really, really stacked, which is why I don't really have any high hopes for Chad Gable going back into main roster WWE television. So yeah, it's either, I think the best way obviously is to keep EGA in AAA, but Ludwig in WWE as maybe you just have Imperium come back. Obviously Giovanni Vinci's gone, but Gunther and Ludwig, that might be the way to go to get Gunther that WWE championship eventually.
I feel like it may be too soon to do that. I think you can do that, but I don't think you do it right. Within the next month or whatever it is. Like what El Grande Americana has done is like he's just established himself as that guy, and I feel like bringing Ludwig Kaiser and doing this like whole facade thing, like running that thing at the same time is gonna do more harm than good. I don't know if like, and I know where you're coming from because it's like with the skepticism of the creative. I just think that it's like we had such a great, it was such a strong weekend for Ludwig that like doing this whole charade again, I just don't know if it's like, I think it'd be too soon. I think you could do it down the line. I just think right now it'd be way too soon. Pete Dunne, man. I mean, I saw Pete Dunne produce the match. I don't know whether he's Bravo or Royal, but I don't know. He's in there, man. But what a fantastic match. Honestly, that's in the conversation for match of the year. But let's move on. Let's carry on with the rest of the recap. And let's start with Clash in Italy, the main event. Roman Reigns defeating Jacob Fatu in tribal combat. Not only does Jacob not win the championship, but he also had to acknowledge the OTC. There are some details in there. You know, we had Solo and the MFTs in the crowd post-match. We had Jey Uso full yelling at Jacob to get your ass in, like as he was like getting out of the ring, like literally like barking at him like a dog. And then we get to Raw, and it starts with the OTC and the Usos in tow as well. Jacob Fatu comes out later on. Again, Jey Uso, tell him, hurry up. He says, Vavave also, which is, hurry up, man. Say what you need to say. And we finally get Jacob acknowledging the OTC. All four of those guys, one's up in the ring. I'm curious to hear what you think. I remember talking about it with Andrew last week, but Tony, for now that you're back, are you intrigued with Jacob falling in line with the bloodline?
I am intrigued, and I think I see where it's going. Jey Uso is going to be the new Roman Reigns, but in the way of, Jey Uso will be like that narcissistic, manipulative leader. And, Roman Reigns told Jey Uso, go and get that WWE championship. There's two ends of the table here. I think Jey Uso will step into that mold of being that dirtbag leader that gaslights constantly, and that's going to lead to Jacob versus Jey Uso.
How soon? How soon did you see that happening?
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam?
Yeah, that's one of your main SummerSlam matches.
Really?
Has to be.
Okay, so obviously the King of the Ring and the Queen of the Ring tournament has been announced. The winners of both of those tournaments, they get a title match at SummerSlam, which we're going to get to later on. So I don't want to jump the gun. But in my mind, I don't have it with Jey and Jacob. In my mind, it's Jey and Cody. And yeah, I did love, the detail where Roman's like, you've already won this one. Go get the other one. Cody's got that belt. Go get the other one. Before, and I feel like we're getting ahead, but Jacob, just to wrap, tie the bow on the Jacob stuff. I'm intrigued with Jacob falling in line, albeit he is reluctant. He was kind of reluctant. He doesn't look happy to be there, but he is falling in line, and it's similar to when Jey was the right hand man back in in COVID. It was similar to that where Jey didn't really want to be there, but he fell in line eventually. Jacob doesn't want to be in there. Whether he falls in line eventually or not, we'll see. But I've been seeing some commentary online about, people, and this is always the thing with IWC, but people are getting tired of the Bloodline story. It's a bit stale. It's getting repetitive. What's your vibe check on it? Are you tired with it, or are you hopeful that we're going to be seeing something new?
I'm a mix of both, but I think I'm a little bit more on the optimistic side because I feel like they might be beginning their succession planning for when Roman is not on TV. And, I don't expect him to have to be on TV every week. We know what his schedule's been like for the last few years. There are going to be times when Roman Reigns isn't seen on TV for 6 weeks. So if he's going to be taking a step back, the older he gets, the succession planning has to be there. And it's obviously with Jey Uso being the tribal chief.
Damn, all right. I'm with you. I'm optimistic with this one. Obviously there are a lot of similarities. Like I just said, the Jey and Jacob similarity. Even with Roman kind of calling out Cody Rhodes, saying "fuck QB1," there's some tribal chief shit. Even Cody Rhodes responding to Roman on the post show at Clash in Italy. Obviously, they've only had 2 matches, right? Well, I think they've had more, but we know the 2 WrestleMania matches. We have to, we'd be stupid not to think about getting a third. Is WrestleMania next year too soon for that? Do we let it cook out a little bit more? Is it too soon? Where are you at with this?
We don't need that. We don't need a third match at all.
At all?
Not right now.
At all?
Not right now. We don't need a third match.
WrestleMania?
No. We need something else. We've seen it twice. Twice is enough. We shouldn't have seen it more than once. We should have seen it the first time.
Wait,
That
so
should
you're
have been
saying it
it.
should just be one-on-one?
We don't need any more.
Really interesting. So you're happy with it being just one apiece?
Yep. That's all I need. I don't need anything else. We don't need to go, back and run it back every time we want a big match. We've got other stars we can build, other stars we can make. Let's move on to that.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, Cody Rhodes wasn't the only name that Roman mentioned. He also calls out Royce Keys and LA Knight as well. LA Knight, man, he is like, he'll never get out of that bloodline vortex, man. He is, just when you thought he was out, he's back in again. You have to assume that would probably be the next thing for Roman Reigns right now. Is that what you're thinking?
I don't know. I don't think so. I feel like LA Knight's going to be in this weird standoff with Jay and Jimmy more so than Roman. So, yeah, it's one of those things where, I've held out so much hope for LA Knight in the last 2.5 years, and I've been disappointed every single time. I'm just not even getting excited this time around. I don't have any hope for it whatsoever.
That's fair enough.
I think the storyline's going to stink with LA Knight being involved in it. I don't think he should be even on the same show as them right now. He probably needs to be on SmackDown.
I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with him. Give us some fresh new matchups, right? Like, we know what he can do. He doesn't need to be in a program with Roman right now. Give him some spice, give him a little something else. And maybe, what he should have done was, on SmackDown, he has a bit of a more opportunity with Cody Rhodes, who retains his WWE Championship against Gunther. Kind of a controversial finish. What do you think of the match itself, though? Cody Rhodes and Gunther.
I thought this was my favorite match on the whole card for Clash in Italy. I thought, great way to open the show. Probably thought, like, in the end, maybe it should have been the main event, or the way it kind of went down. Interesting, though, because Cody's been getting mixed reactions in the US. In Europe, I think this is a perfect place to continue him on that baby face storyline. Got huge pops, in Spain and in Italy. And obviously now it looks like we're going to get more of Gunther versus Cody with the way the match finished. With the
has to be, right?
With the ref not seeing Gunther's leg under the rope. Thought it was weird to kind of just throw the referee under the bus very first match of the night. I swear there used to be an old rule where, this is pulling back the curtain a little bit, but I swear there used to be a rule you don't throw the referee under the bus in the very first match of the night, because then for the rest of the event, you've always got that in your mind that the referees aren't up to the standard of integrity that we're expecting them to be.
There you go. Fun facts. Never stop learning, guys. Fun fact from Tony Free. And that's funny that you say that, because the match after had a similar thing.
See what I mean?
But yeah, I agree. The match was really fun. I mean, that wasn't to the surprise of no one. Those two guys can go, and they're kind of at their, I don't want to say they're at their peak or they're around their peak of their career. So that was always going to be a fun match. And yeah, with that kind of finish, we'll see how it plays out on SmackDown this week. But we should be getting a rematch. When we'll be getting it, I don't know. I just had a look at the PLE schedule for the year. Obviously, we've got Night of Champions at the end of this month. The next one after that is Saturday night's main event, mid-July, and then the one after that is SummerSlam. So I don't know if there's a show that we're missing in between, but now they're starting to feel like maybe we're just so used to, with this month alone, there was 3 events. Now we're getting them spaced out a bit. So where, we'll get this rematch, not too sure yet. Maybe we get it at Night of Champions, perhaps. The other thing is, though, that we saw on SmackDown, Sami Zayn still lurking in the shadows, still hovering around. I thought that maybe I didn't think that the chance was zero with Gunther winning the belt on the weekend, but there was a number on it that wasn't zero. I think we got like where I'm at. Sami Zayn is going to cost Cody Rhodes the belt. That's where my mind is going, and I think it's going to happen before SummerSlam. I'm predicting that in a few months out. But what are your thoughts on Sami? We've spoken about this before. Is it still kind of is he still kind of coasting? Are we getting a bit more out of it? Do we need to move on? What are you saying, TF?
Yeah, I think it would be interesting to see Sammy costing Cody Rhodes the championship in Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions. I think that's a good way to really, I guess, and just really define the change in Sami Zayn's character by making him do that in Saudi Arabia, fully becoming a heel in a country where he's so beloved. I think that really, is the nail in the coffin into him being a full-blown heel. I think that's a great way to go about it. So I think, yeah, that's probably the way we need to go right now. If it doesn't happen there, I don't know what they're doing with Sammy. They really need to just pull the trigger, and that's probably the way to do it, and when they need to do it, and where they need to do it. But if they don't do it there and then, I've lost all hope. I don't know. What about
Yeah.
you? Do you? It feels like it has to happen there. Of all places, it has to. It'd just be poetic for it to happen there.
Well, it just reminded me of what me and Andrew were talking about last week. Slow burn season. Everything's a slow burn. It's like we've been waiting for something to happen. And like you said, man, they just got to pull the trigger. Yeah, I think Night of Champions in Riyadh, that makes the most sense for this to like all blow off, and if it might be considered like the obvious choice, but the obvious choice doesn't necessarily mean that it's the wrong choice. So, and Gunther having the belt as well is not a bad problem. That is not that's good. If Gunther holds the WWE Championship into SummerSlam, I'm with that. That it would throw a spanner into the works of what I had said, in regards to the King of the Ring. But we'll chat about that more in a little bit. Let's talk about Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill. Rhea Ripley defeating Jade in their WrestleMania rematch. Hey, their WrestleMania match, thought it was great. This match here, just as good. Solid match again. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought so too. And I think now you cannot have Jade Cargill in the world title picture. She's lost the championship. She lost a rematch. She has to be out of the title picture now. And, with a few things that happened here in this match, it looks like we're leaning towards Charlotte versus Jade, which I think will be very interesting. I'm very interested to see, not so much like the in-ring aspect of this, but I'm really keen to see how these two go on the mic. But the match, awesome, but we have to speak about this botch. BFAB.
Oh, God.
He had one job. Put the leg on the rope. And this ref, he should have just counted 3. He should have counted. We all saw what was happening. The camera was right there. We see the ref. He just holds his hand up. He's meant to count 3 and he just holds it up. He doesn't say anything because BFAB has just botched putting that leg on the rope.
Oh, gosh. Do you reckon it was was she too far away from the rope, or did BFAB just completely miss grabbing the leg?
I think she slipped. She let it slip through her fingers.
Slipping through my fingers.
And then of all people to be in that spot to make the botch, it had to be BFAB.
Hey, man.
It does not help her case at all.
It was very reminiscent of the infamous Tangaloa. I don't know which match. Oh, I think it was his debut, right? Wasn't it when he debuted or returned to the WWE? It was very similar settings. Yeah, look, I think it was kind of saved a little bit. It wasn't as bad as it could have been because obviously that's when Charlotte came out and attacked the two. So I think it could have been worse if there was no Charlotte involvement and if that was meant to be the finish or whatever. I think I kind of tidied it up a little bit better, but Going back to what you think, yeah, Jade and Charlotte, I think that has to be the move from now on. Obviously, Alexa Bliss wasn't there, but that's because Jade had hit her with the jaded on the chair on SmackDown. Look, you're saying that Jade is, she has to move on. Unfortunately, I don't know where I'm thinking. I don't think she's done here. I think if anything, she stays, but we get the involvement of Charlotte, and maybe we get like a triple threat down the line. Again, I said it before. Charlotte she's finally, worked her way back into what we know she can do, into that role where people forgot. People forgot that she's won the championship how many times? She's the queen, right? I think now she's at a point where we can tap back into that, because obviously she's just had some mishaps with injuries and whatnot. But I'm excited for Charlotte to get back in the picture. I'm with it, and despite that weird finish, maybe that's where it needs to go. What this means for Alexa as well, I don't know. Both of those guys, actually all three of those, Jade, Alexa, and Charlotte, are going to be in the Queen of the Ring tournament. So yeah, I guess it's just a watch this space at this stage.
We need to speak about these referees. I just spoke about the first match, the referee coming under fire. This second match here, where BFAB botched that, putting the leg on the rope. Referee kicks them out, throws them out of the match. 3 minutes later, Charlotte does the same thing. You can stay. Where is consistency? Referees, there has to be an investigation.
Hey, you know what's so bad? Yeah, because I don't think the ref was meant to see that either. But like from where he was, it was so like he absolutely saw that. Eh?
Yep. Consistency. That's all we ask for. Consistency in the refereeing.
All right, Tony Free coming from the referees now, man.
And we might need a VAR. Maybe we need a VAR or the bunker for the WWE referees at the moment. There's some very dubious decisions that were made on the weekend. So, yeah, there has to be an investigation.
Listen, man, if they're anything like the bunkers in the NRL, man, keep them away. We don't need that stupidity in the game, all right? Don't ruin the game. Let's talk about Becky Lynch versus Sol Ruca for the Intercontinental Championship. Sol Ruca winning her first bit of gold in the WWE. Jessica Carr, I mean, speaking of investigations, referee Jessica Carr.
This is what I'm talking about.
Someone who will agree with you is Becky Lynch. Go on.
This is what I'm talking about. Like, you can't have the very first match of the night fall under a dubious referee decision. Your second match of the night, there's inconsistencies in the refereeing in that match. And then Sol Ruca versus Becky Lynch once again. Jessica Carr, Becky Lynch has every right to be furious about this. This is once again very biased refereeing on Jessica Carr's part. Congrats to Sol Ruca, 2 back-to-back wins on Becky Lynch in the space of a week, I think.
Sure. So
awesome, first main roster WWE championship. She had the North American Championship in NXT, so she's getting used to wearing gold. Yeah, very interested to see where they go now. I don't know if Becky Lynch maybe has time off, or she tries to get the Intercontinental Championship back, because at the moment she's doing a really, really good job of putting over the younger talent like Sol Ruca, like Maxine Dupree, Lyra Valkyria, bringing AJ back into the WWE. Yeah, I think she's done a really good job. So if she's having some time off right now, very well deserved, but I'm hoping she's still around to add some spice into that women's division.
Well, like I said before, slow burn season. We have spoken about it at length here on this podcast. One of the biggest slow burns is whether Jessica Carr is going to get in the ring. This has been a thing that's been going on for time between Becky Lynch and Jessica Carr. A bit of back and forth between the two. It's nice seeing, a referee, showed a little bit of character, right? But at some point, pull the damn trigger. And this is also reminiscent of what, the Drew McIntyre, Nick Aldis stuff. Adam Pearce and Bron Breakker or whatever it is. Pull the trigger, man. Who do you reckon of those 3 matchups, right? Of those 3, who would you want to see, rank them in order of, who's going to have a good match?
Yeah, who are the names again, sorry?
referee Jessica Carr and the two
Becky.
general managers, general manager
Okay.
Pierce or general manager Nick Aldis.
I think Adam Pearce. He's got the aggression that I'm looking for right now. When he had that little backstage interaction with LA Knight on Raw, I thought, this guy he wants it. The other two, I don't know. Nick Aldis is very like, oh look, let's play diplomatic here. Nick Aldis has been RKO'd like 4 or 5 times in the space of the last 12 months. Hasn't done anything about it. Or I think Adam Pearce, he wouldn't be afraid to hold his own.
Adam Pearce,
He wants to
like,
smoke.
he's on his last straw. Like, someone is gonna like piss him off, and he's gonna go. Like, so yeah, I'm with that. And honestly, I'd be more entertained with Adam Pearce because, hey, that's the GOAT Raw GM right there. I'm with it. But look, yeah, I just think the Jessica Carr, Becky Lynch stuff. If we're not gonna get a match out of it, then stop doing this. Stop teasing us. All right. Let's move on. Brock Lesnar, Obafemi. I'm interested because there was a key detail in this storyline that was spoken about last week. You weren't here for. Brock Lesnar has established that he is retired, and there was a lot of emphasis on Brock being retired. Now you were petitioning hard for the Brock Lesnar retirement angle at SummerSlam this year. What does this mean for you and your plans of Brock Lesnar, Tony Freak?
All this is, it's an easy out for him not to be on TV every few weeks. He can have, 6 weeks off, come in, attack Obafemi, have a match, disappear for another 4 weeks. That's what retirement is for him. He's just a part-timer. That's all that is.
But how does that... So, okay, now the one rule of wrestling, do not apply logic to
This man
wrestling.
isn't retired. He's been on Raw the last couple of weeks and just had a match at Clash in Italy. He cannot be retired.
But why do they keep saying that he calls himself retired, though? So then why are they putting so much emphasis on them calling themselves retired?
It's just an easy out for him not to be around.
Why would they say that, though, if he wasn't like, you know what I mean? Obviously, he's not retired. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Hey,
he's not retired.
Hey, but
why would they say he's retired?
Did you hear the Brock math? 1 + 1 is 2, bitch. This isn't done.
No,
this is not done.
No, that's not what he said. He said 1 + 1, you're done. And I was like, what? How does that work out? Wait, hold on. I was like, the math does not math up. What do you mean 1 + 1, you're done? That was your math for Roman and Cody. That's your math for Cody and Roman. 1 + 1, you're done.
You're done, bitch. 1 + 1.
What does that say? Yeah, okay. We need to go into this at length because I'm confused. But before we do all that, I mean, the match itself, what do you think? I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. I was not expecting a squash from Brock Lesnar like that. I thought Obafemi would get the win here again, but yeah, I'm not a fan of Brock Lesnar.
You think it was a squash?
He hit him with 7 F5s? 5 to start the match. It's pretty much
F5s, but I feel like a squash was like...
It's close to it's as close to a squash as you'll get for Obafemi. Yes, he got up a few times. He didn't back down. He took the fight to him, but I don't know what the length of the match was. But it was pretty quick, and for the most part, Brock Lesnar dominated Obafemi.
Do you think this reflects poorly on, or maybe that's not the right choice of words, but what do you think of what this does to Oba's character and the momentum that he has? Do you think that affects it?
I don't think so, because we obviously saw Obafemi in the King of the Ring tournament the next night, and yeah, he didn't lose anything there. Like we now know that we have this match still, like the trilogy, the third match, just in the bank for later on. And in the meantime, Obafemi can still continue just absolutely dominating and destroying his opponents like he did to 3 of them on Monday Night Raw this week. Even with one arm.
Look, hey, if we're doing some math here, I mean, 7 F5s. If it took 7 F5s for Obafemi to stay down for the three count, then yeah, I agree. It's not. This doesn't affect him at all. He looked good in this loss. I disagree that it was a squash. You know, the Brock Lesnar matches, they're like now more than ever, they are like car crashes. Like all they are is just big explosions. It's an action film. Big explosions, some things that don't really make sense, but at the end of it, you're like, hell yeah. And that's what I took away from this match. Obafemi, yeah, that match on Raw, the Fatal 4-Way. Dude, can we talk about, first of all, the crowd? The crowd involvement in this match, fantastic. First of all, the Oba chants were loud as hell in Turin. But also, something that I've never heard before was the crowd singing Brock Lesnar's theme, which was also Major. Big fan of that. Yeah, they were singing. I've never heard anyone sing along to the theme, but it was great. It was great. I loved it so much. But on Raw, when he's coming out, to the ring, and before the match starts, he gets rid of Carmella, he gets rid of Penta and Solo, and still on beat hits that pose he does with the spotlight behind him in the ring. Hey man, that's the guy right there. I got no nose.
I like that they kept the music playing for that. He comes in, they attack him, and the music just kept playing. He clears him out, hits the pose. I thought it was really good.
Oh, it's fantastic, man. And again, go to the details. Obafemi is a details man. He's walking out selling the arm still, from the Kimura. So I thought that was great. But yeah, look, hey man, I still don't know how I feel about this 1+1. You're done. Brock saying that he's retired. Everyone on TV saying he's retired when he's clearly not. You know what I mean? What are we doing here, man?
I feel like the trilogy, like this, the end of the trilogy here has to be at Night of Champions. Have the last match in Saudi Arabia, and then I still think that leaves us with enough time for Brock to get to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I mean, you have to get him for SummerSlam at least, right? That seems to be
in Minnesota.
The angle is in Minnesota for places.
His hometown, so it leaves enough time. So this trilogy hopefully does come to an end soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, we mentioned it before. Obafemi moves into the next round of the King of the Ring tournament. The brackets have been revealed. The finals will happen at Night of Champions in Riyadh on the 27th of June. And the winners of both things will get championship opportunities at SummerSlam. Now, let's start with the King of the Ring tournament. Obviously, they're starting with Fatal 4-Way matches, and the winner of that will move on to the semis. Here are some of the upcoming matches. I guess we'll go each one, and then we'll talk a little bit about it. Let's start with this one. Seth Rollins, Javon Evans, Tala Tonga, and Ricky Saints is one of the first matches. There was also there was a botch, I believe, online where Saints and Tonga were not meant to be a part of it. Instead, it was meant to be Sami Zayn and the returning Drew McIntyre, but I don't know. Maybe they posted the wrong photo. I don't know if that was a leak or whatever.
They've changed the bracket from what was announced on.
Again?
So they've changed the bracket from whatever was announced on Clash of Italy. I didn't know that.
So I was confused as well, because from my understanding, Tala Tonga and Ricky Saints were always in the bracket. But then I saw online that there was one with Sami Zayn and Drew McIntyre. And I was confused as to where that came from. But I'm pretty sure what they announced on TV is sticking. But Seth Rollins, Javon Evans, Tala Tonga, Ricky Saints, that should be... There's some interesting matchups there, but it seems like there's only one clear winner here, right?
You'd think so, and I hope they do the right thing here and have Seth win this. Because I'd love to see Seth versus Roman at SummerSlam. So that's what I'm praying for. I want Seth Rollins to get through.
Yeah, man. Well, we saw Seth defeat Bron Breakker in what was a fun main event on Raw. And after the match, he does the belt gimmick with his hands, and then he puts his one up. So that was enough for me. I said, get me there. That's it right there. I don't care who else is in the tournament. If we don't get this, I will riot. But we do need to talk about the other ones. Just because for the sake of the argument here, Dom Mysterio, Bron Breakker, Trick Willie, and Damian Priest is the next matchup. Dom Mysterio, I feel like this is his first match on TV since what, WrestleMania? That sounds right.
He hasn't been doing much, has he? He's lost all his belts now, hasn't he, as well?
No, I don't know why.
Yeah, not.
I don't know why they just stopped putting him on TV.
He had such a huge 2025. Ended with a couple matches against John Cena, and then they just haven't done anything with him this year. Which is sad. But this match, this is probably the hardest one to pick a winner because you can make cases for I think three of them. Damian Priest probably the guy who's least likely to win here. He took an L on SmackDown last week, so I can't see him getting the win in this match. I would lean towards Bron Breakker, but I think he's doing other things right now, especially now that he's one half of the tag team champions with Logan Paul being on the shelf. I feel like this might be a Trick Williams win.
Oh, okay. I don't mind that. United States champion, Trick Willie. Could be a fun one. I'm with you on the Bron Breakker stuff, but I'm not going Trick Willie. I'm actually going to go Dirty Dom to win this one. But to the Bron Breakker stuff, I saw a clip the other day after Raw where it was a fan clip of him in the hotel and he had a bit of a limp going. So obviously we haven't seen anything yet, but hopefully that's nothing too serious. It'd be such a shame if he got hurt again. But I guess a key point in the match was Braun spearing Paul Heyman into the barricade on Raw. Whether that's going to mean anything, we don't know. But if I'm in the booking team, if I'm in those meetings, I'm saying, hey, yes, do this and get rid of the Vision full stop. Give the Street Profits the tag titles. Get Paul Heyman to cut it. All he needs to do is Paul Heyman needs to go into the ring and goes, hey, I was the wise man. I was the manager of CM Punk. I look after the Beast. I'm the advocate for the Beast. You motherfuckers right here are tarnishing my legacy right now. All of you guys are getting hurt. You're weak. You guys are spearing me. I'm done. I'm done with you. Do not talk to me. Do not call me. That's what I need to happen right now.
I feel like with Paul Heyman being speared through that barricade, it might be the perfect opportunity to write him off TV for a few weeks. Like if Brock Lesnar's not going to be on TV for a few weeks, you can keep Paul Heyman off as well. And then the Vision can kind of disintegrate, go to shit with Paul Heyman not being there. And then by the time Paul Heyman comes back, hopefully there is no Vision for him to come back to, and he just is exclusively the advocate for Brock Lesnar.
Hey, well done. I'm with that. Let's talk about the next match. Jey Uso, Royce Keys, LA Knight, and Finn Balor, who seemingly overnight and with no explanation has moved to the SmackDown roster. Finn Balor. What do you reckon of this one here?
He has he?
Yeah. Yeah.
I had no idea. There you
go.
That
went on Twitter, or maybe it wasn't even an announcement. He just kind of tweeted about it.
Oh, well, geez. I guess on
Not
paper,
a bad thing.
I mean, on paper here, you probably would say Jey Uso, but the more you dive into it a little bit here with each of these guys, you could make a case for all of them. And Finn being on SmackDown now, I'm not too sure. I feel that might just eliminate his chances straight away because it seems like he'll be getting into something else on SmackDown. So, that takes Finn out, and I've got Jey, Royce, LA Knight. LA Knight and Jey Uso is a very interesting dynamic here, considering what's happening between LA Knight and the Bloodline. Maybe Royce Keys does get a surprise win here. I'm going to throw him in as a smoky to get this win.
Okay. Royce Keys has been, showing up on TV. Slowly starting to get over, which is nice to see. But look, out of all of those names discussed, who do you reckon is your dark horse? Is it going to be Royce Keys? Is there another name in the King of the Ring tournament that you're looking at?
To win it as a dark horse?
No, I wouldn't say yeah, I guess so. Yeah, obviously you have a favorite, but I mean, who is your one? That you're like, I wouldn't be surprised if this happens as well.
Man, I feel like it's just too obvious that Seth Rollins wins the tournament. If I was gonna, oh man, but you still have Obafemi in the tournament as well. That's the hard part. He's qualified, so it's either. I'll say Seth Rollins is the easy go-to and Obafemi will be the smoky. only for the fact that Obafemi has Brock Lesnar lurking in the background somewhere, and we don't know when he's going to pop up.
Look, you know who my dark horse here is? It's Finn Balor. I think it's Finn Balor. I think there's an opportunity there for him to make it all the way to the final, and maybe it's against the Seth Rollins. I agree with you that the clear favorite is Seth Rollins winning this, and I wouldn't be mad at that. But Finn Balor making a run, especially with, I've said it before, Finn Balor is back, and this move to SmackDown, first of all, means new matchups, but it also separates him from the Judgment Day, which has been, which we've spoken about. It's been, what are we doing here? Get rid of these guys. We need to stop doing this. So I would say, yeah, my smoky would be Finn Balor here. And I actually would really love to see Finn Balor back in the WWE title picture. I mean, a matchup between him and Cody I'd be around that. So that's who my dark horse here. But let's move on to the Queen of the Ring tournament. We had our first match also on Raw. Io Sky defeating Roxanne Perez, Julia, and Lash Legend, which was a pretty fun match, actually. And surprised to see Roxanne Perez not make it through. But let's talk about the other matchups here. This one got everyone questioning it. Becky Lynch, Alexa Bliss, Chelsea Green, and the Women's World Champion, Liv Morgan. A lot of people going, why the hell's Liv Morgan in this?
It's a good question.
Yeah, look, her explanation of it was that she wants it all. She wants to be the champion and the Queen of the Ring as well. That don't make no sense to me. What are we doing?
I don't know. This is...
You could have put anyone else back in there. I mean, Liv Morgan hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania, I'm pretty sure.
I had my gripe about this 2 weeks ago with Liv Morgan winning the Women's World Championship and having absolutely no contenders come forward to take her on.
Mm-hmm.
And now we've gotten to this point where we're going to throw Liv Morgan in the Queen of the Ring tournament just so she can get matches in and just spin it off as if, she wants to take both world titles. This is bad. This is not good. This is not good, especially when I look at the lineup here in this Fatal 4-Way. I don't know if Alexa Bliss is going to make it to the match, but you've got Becky Lynch and Chelsea Green. I need Chelsea Green to win this tournament. I do not want to see anybody else win this tournament. I don't want to see Charlotte Flair. I don't want to see Bayley, whoever else is in there, Sol Ruka. This has to be a Chelsea Green Queen of the Ring tournament.
Obviously, you're going to be saying that because you are honestly the biggest Chelsea Green mark besides your partner Flick. Honestly, it's just this doesn't shock me in any way, especially the way that you're explaining it. But I will say Chelsea Green is my dark horse here. We've been waiting for her time, and I think a tournament style like something like this is where you can have her really pop off. I will say though, this Chelsea Green Tiffany Stratton angle I don't really understand it. Like, is she back to being a babyface now? Is she already a babyface? Obviously, in your eyes, your bias removed, Tony Free. What are you saying about Chelsea's character right now?
She's always been an organic babyface who was unfairly scripted as a heel. She was getting cheered even when she was the heel. So I think it's only natural and fitting now that she is being booked as a babyface. Very interesting that Tiffany Stratton is not booked in this Queen of the Ring tournament. So as we saw on SmackDown, we could see Tiffany Stratton helping Chelsea Green along the way here to get those wins.
True. So you're picking Chelsea Green to win this match? Yeah, honestly, I don't know, man. It has to be. If it's not Chelsea Green, then I guess it's Liv Morgan. She wins with like the help of the Judgment Day. There's also Sol Ruka, the Intercontinental Champion, against Lara Valkyria, Charlotte Flair, and Jade Cargill. Pretty interesting to have Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill in the same matchup, but maybe, going back to the method of it all, they cancel each other out. What do you reckon about this matchup?
Well, Lyra will be eating the pin in this match. It's just a matter of who is the one that pins her. And I feel like it needs to be Charlotte Flair.
Okay.
I need I
She
need
hasn't
Jade
won
Cargill to go
the
on a
Queen of the Ring. You need
spiral.
the Queen winning the Queen of the Ring.
Exactly. And I need Jade Cargill going on a
Man,
spiral
okay.
and then just, taking that vendetta out on Charlotte Flair.
All right. And then the last of the matchups, Bailey, Raquel Rodriguez, JC Jane, and Kiana James. Man. Man, it's such a shame what's going on with... I guess it's not a shame, but Bailey, man... let's do something with Bailey, man. It's been too long.
I think this is a JC Jane win. She's been getting a nice little push on SmackDown the last few weeks, and I would not be surprised to see her getting the win here. My other one, I guess my smoky for this match, Kiana James.
Yeah, man. Agreed. Have her and Julia like officially split, or are they still kind of tagging together? I can't keep up.
I don't know. I'm hoping they've just like cut their losses with that being a tag team and just, establishing. Actually, on Julia, while we're here, really cool to see her wrestling in Italy on Monday Night Raw. I think she was crying, on her way to the ring. Very, emotionally moved, you could tell. So that was nice to see. But yeah, hopefully they've just split them up because they're both really, really good wrestlers in their own individual right. It's just that pairing of them never seemed like a natural fit.
Agreed. Well, look, I've said who my dark horse is, which is Chelsea Green, but I think the favorite here, for me at least, I think it's got to be Io Sky, right? I think, she's winning the first match. She hasn't really got any particular storylines going. Whether she, has a match with Liv Morgan for the belt or they run her and Rhea at SummerSlam, either outcome is great. So I think Io Sky is the clear favorite here. Do you agree?
I don't think so. I think mainly because I thought Roxanne Perez was going to be the one qualifying out of that fatal four-way. So I was a little bit surprised that they did go with Io. I feel like, I don't know, it's hard to say this, but I feel like maybe I'm a little bit tired of Io. There's not really anything interesting happening with her at the moment. So like I can't really get on board with Io Sky going all the way in this tournament and winning just to have a match with Rhea Ripley.
Surely, I mean, what? She's got nothing. She's not doing anything.
That's the thing. She's not doing anything. There's nothing interesting. I don't think we should just give her a title match against Rhea Ripley, her former tag team champion, her former tag team partner, just because she's got nothing else going on. Give her something. We don't need this.
What about her and Liv, though? I feel like that they haven't really... I'm sure they have, maybe, but not for the title, I don't think.
Who knows? Well, like the fact that, you've got Liv in the next Fatal 4-Way qualifier match. Io's qualified for the next... I don't want Liv to win this match. I need Chelsea to win it. So I can't say that Io and Liv should match up in the Queen of the Ring tournament. We don't need that.
I don't think
we don't need it.
Liv wins this. Because then what? If Liv wins, then she fights Rhea?
I mean, that's what she's saying she wants to do, is go and pin Rhea Ripley for that WWE Women's Championship.
Where the hell is Stephanie Vaquer?
That's a good question.
I feel like, where the hell is she?
Maybe we get her back this week when they have this match. Maybe that's Raquel's return match out of nowhere. Cost Liv, because let's remember, no disqualifications. Fatal 4-Way.
Yeah.
We're going to get some hullabaloo.
That's right. Yes, and there is still, the slow burn of Roxanne and Liv kind of, having a match up down the line. So, yeah, hey, you might have caught it there, the Oracle, TF. Is there anything else that we may have missed from last week? I think we've kind of covered most of it, right?
Hey, I had no idea, about, Finn moving to SmackDown and, some of the changes in the King of the Ring bracket. So I think we've covered most things, but there was one tweet that I saw this morning. I just wanted to bring it up now that I've remembered it. And it was...
Let's go.
It was from Brian Nemeth. And, he spoke about, certain wrestlers out there who are straight edge and pretty much pointing out the fact that they're now on steroids. He said, "I love that straight edge guys are like nothing is ever going in my body, ever," in caps, except performance-enhancing drugs, which I will be putting in my body actually very often now because I do steroids. But of course, that does not break my sacred vow. I am more disciplined than you. Smiley face.
What the hell?
I think I know who that's about. And these two, they had a backstage history in AEW. I think Ryan Nemeth accused
Really?
CM Punk of getting him fired as well.
Damn. I did not know any of this.
Yeah,
this
came out
Ryan
this
Nemeth
morning.
is Dolph Ziggler's brother, right? Nick Nemeth's brother.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
The hell?
Yeah,
The
funny.
hell funny. CM Punk's sitting there.
Funny tweet.
God knows what CM Punk's doing these days.
Oh, I don't think he's.
Yeah, that is a bit of a funny one to end on.
I don't think he's worrying about Ryan Nemeth, that's for sure. But yeah, funny little tweet to wake up to this morning.
No way. Yeah, very interesting. I wonder when we're going to be seeing Phil back as well. But there you go. Hey, well, I'm curious to see if we revisit that tweet on next week's episode. If there's a bit more fallout from it. Man, let's get out of here, man. It's been a fun show. Big, really fun weekend of wrestling, I got to say. If you've made it this far, we appreciate you for sticking along. Share it with a mate. Make sure you're following us on social media, on YouTube as well. You can see our ugly mugs, Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Leave a review. But man, yeah, I don't think there's no events on this week. Just a classic weekend of SmackDown and Raw.
Hey,
TF, you got anything exciting coming on? Hey?
So I'm just going to say they're running these shows a little bit earlier now. They're in Europe, so I can't remember. I haven't watched.
Oh, is this in Italy?
I don't know if it's in Italy, but I'm pretty sure they're still in Europe because I know they're doing house shows at the moment. But
right.
Yeah, these early start times have definitely caught me off guard. So I've been watching them on delay. So yeah, I don't know where they are this week, but I'm sure I won't be watching it live, no matter what time it's on.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
But yeah, I think this week I don't know what's happening this week. I can't remember what's on. It's a June long weekend. We got Monday off, so I don't know what I'll be doing, but couldn't tell you. Be watching wrestling at some stage, but that's all I know.
Yeah, one thing's for sure, I will be watching wrestling as well. I don't mind I'm not watching it live, but I don't mind waking up and then immediately turning on the TV and just watching some wrestling. So hopefully you guys are listening, you're doing the same thing. Man, thank you for listening. TF, see you next week, brother.
See you then.